I don't think it's likely that we'll see a vaccine mandate implemented nationally just because there'd be so much blowback. But I do think we're going to see mandates on a much smaller scale from employer to employer, for example. Employers can definitely require their workers to get vaccinated. This is actually pretty clear in federal and state law, but the employer has to give you the right to be able to avoid that vaccination if it's a reasonable request, maybe a religious reason or maybe a health reason. Health institutions are among the first that are starting to require COVID vaccinations, but we're also seeing major companies like Google, for example, that are implementing mandates. When you see a company like Google do it, that's often a leading indicator for what some smaller companies do. I don't think it'll be universal in any respect. I think that many, if not most companies, will probably stick to strongly encouraging the vaccine. Some of them have exceptions where if you refuse to get vaccinated, you can submit to regular testing. You can definitely lose your job if you refuse to get a vaccine and your employer is telling you to do so. It's really not much different than saying you can't smoke in the office. You can, of course, quit. And you know what? Some employers are going to be afraid of that. And that may be one reason why they don't implement mandates. Workers have another option, which is they can kind of negotiate in some cases, maybe a remote work situation. Vaccine mandates are really tricky when it comes to unions because if you have a union contract, the union may have some say over whether you can implement a mandate on the vaccine. I think we're going to see some unions push back. For example, my understanding is that the postal union is opposing a mandate for postal workers. But then on the other side, the AFL-CIO is apparently supporting the vaccine mandate. But since a lot of unions tend to be left-leaning, I think that'll also play a factor here because you have President Biden who is pushing the vaccine. And so I think unions from a political perspective will feel a little bit of a tug to support a potential mandate. Private businesses can definitely enforce a vaccine mandate if they'd like to do so. Schools are absolutely allowed. We know that schools historically have mandated certain vaccines for children, but I think they're going to face some blowback, especially in more conservative parts of the country, if they try to do that.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you like this video, check out these other videos from USA Today to stay up to date with all the latest news.